Why is there still poverty in the UK? The United Kingdom is seen as one of the most affluent nations, but the question is, are there people living in poverty in the UK? The country has a lot of resources to keep everyone living there above the poverty level. It's among those providing economic and military aid to the international communities. This gives the impression that all is well with the country economically. Nevertheless, we do hear reports of teenage poverty in the UK once in a while when there's no economic indicator that gives any hint of poverty in the UK. Then why is there still poverty in the UK? Everything seems to be looking bright there. The employment rate among the more than 66 million Britons is about 77%. The average minimum wage per hour is high. There's no serious shortage of jobs. Meanwhile, those holding down a job have a high level of productivity. Therefore, the talks of poverty in the UK shouldn't occur at all. What do the facts show? Is there really poverty in the UK? What caused it? Is there poverty in the UK? Many people are considered to be living in poverty in the UK, according to some internationally accepted measures of poverty. For instance, data based on incomes by the Department for Work and Pensions, the DWP, shows that 13.44 million people are living in poverty in the UK after housing costs have been taken into consideration. These people considered to be living in relative poverty are about 21% of the population. Corroborating that, a report by Institute for Fiscal Studies in 2015 showed that 21.6% of Britons were living in relative poverty. According to that report, the poverty level in the first few years of the 21st century remained as it was 2 decades earlier. Another report shows that the poverty rate in the UK is about the same level as the average level of poverty in the European Union nation, which is 17%. While this is below the figures released by the DWP figures mentioned earlier, the differences are due to the calculation methods. Nevertheless, both data point essentially to the same thing: there's poverty in the UK. In 2014, the Poverty and Social Exclusion Project at Bristol University came out with a report that shows that the proportion of households that lack 3 items or activities considered necessary for life in the United Kingdom keeps increasing. While it was 14% in 1983, 33% in 2012, it hasn't decreased till now. A more recent analysis of government data that analysed incomes among UK families having at least one child under 5 found that 1/3 of these children live in acute poverty. That's about 1.3 million children under the age of 5 living in poverty in the UK. You would see the parents of such ones begging for a coat for their children because they can't afford to feed or splash out for another winter coat. After that report, another report was released about the northeast of England. The region reportedly has the second highest rate of under 5 poverty in the UK. Special reference was made to the low-income families struggling to feed even before the pandemic made things worse. While families with young children are more vulnerable to wants and are far more likely to be wallowing in lasting poverty, the resultant effect has been a consistent increase in teenage poverty in the UK. From the foregoing, there's no longer any question about whether there is poverty in the UK. We have seen how gripping it is. We can go on and on to explain the effects of this poverty. The more important question, however, is why is there still poverty in the UK despite all efforts geared toward poverty eradication and all the volume of aids the UK government is rendering to other countries? To answer that, let's find out what caused poverty in the UK. Causes of poverty in the UK. It's all too easy to put the poverty in the UK on the feet of the pandemic. While it may be one of the reasons why there's still poverty in the UK, it should be noted that the situation is a product of a consortium of negative factors. For example, in 2018, the United Nations Special Rapporteur by Philip Alston on extreme poverty and human rights spotlighted the situation in the UK and concluded that policies of the British government and cuts to social support are fastening and linking up high levels of poverty. These are inflicting unwarranted hardship and misery. It further alleged that those actions aren't necessarily born out of economic necessity. They're rather a product of a political desire to undertake social re-engineering. Even though this report was rejected by the British government with the defences premised on the rising household incomes, reduced income inequality, and leaving only fewer than 1 million people in absolute poverty for about a decade, the reality on the streets among those living in poverty in the UK shows that government policies are breeding poverty. Why there is still poverty? At this point, we can understand that government policies that engender a lack of social capital and cuts to social services are parts of the cause of poverty in the UK. A lot has also been said about racial discrimination that sometimes denies some people the opportunity to earn above the poverty level. While the United Kingdom government officially moves against this, individual employers and businesses still find it hard to create a level playing ground for people of all races. Thus, there appear to be more millionaires among a race of people, while some considered foreigners remain in poverty. Thus, those born to poor parents are more likely to add to teenage poverty in the UK. While they have a good chance of breaking the jinx, they have a greater struggle with poverty. Unless something is done to prevent poor parents from making more babies, the poor families are going to be increasing the population of people living in poverty in the UK. Well, some of those kids are raised by single parents, which are also living on a low income. Apart from all these, the following are other factors responsible for poverty in the UK. Disability. How many people are living in poverty in the UK due to disabilities? The Employers Forum on Disability says over 7 million people, which is equivalent to 18% of the working age population in the United Kingdom, are disabled, according to the definition of disability by the Equality Act 2010. Expanding the statistics further, the most recent data of the Family Resources Survey reveals that in the UK there are 14.1 million disabled people. Among these are 8% of children, which adds to the teenage poverty in the UK. Differing just a bit from the findings of the Employers Forum on Disability, Family Resources Survey puts the disabled working age adults rate at 19%, while it puts that of pension age adults at 46%. The majority of the people in this category have very little, if anything, to contribute to the economy of the UK, while the economy must cater for them. Meanwhile, life costs an average of £583 a month for the disabled. Families with disabled children have to incur an extra cost of £581 a month on average. From this, it can be deduced that the reason why there is poverty in the UK can be partly because of disability. Illness. Illness is another reason why there is still poverty in the UK. A 2020 survey revealed that Britain has one of the lowest life expectancies in Europe. According to the World Health Organization, chronic diseases are estimated to account for 85% of all disabilities and deaths. Approximately 1 in 4 residents of the UK will experience or are experiencing a mental health problem each year. England is definitely about how 1 in 6 people report struggles with common mental health problems such as anxiety and depression. Plenty of other surveys and data produce grimmer pictures and images. But let's focus on the economic effect of illness on the UK. The adverse economic effects of chronic diseases are not fully appreciated. It affects families, communities and countries, plunging them into poverty, and the United Kingdom is not an exception. For example, the country was expected to lose $2 billion to heart disease, stroke, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, dementia and death. The cost for the NHS and others is also not little. This impacted greatly on the national income and the country's purchasing power. Unemployment and underemployment. Those having jobs that earn them wages lower than the minimum wage, working part-time without a job, are another reason why there is still poverty in the UK. At any rate, these people must feed and live anyhow, but they're not earning enough to give to or build their society in form of tax and other contributions. These generally are the factors responsible for poverty in the UK. I understand poverty may be caused or perpetuated in the country by a host of other factors that you may know that you may love to share. If you like this video, kindly let us know and subscribe to my YouTube channel.